America loves a sensational trial, especially of celebrities, like the 2005 media spectacle surrounding the trial of Michael Jackson, charged with child molestation. After the expense of millions of dollars and weeks of testimony, Michael Jackson was found innocent, but Jackson's reputation and career have been seriously impacted, possibly forever.
Have you seen my childhood?
My name is Larry Nimmer. I'm the guy on the left having lunch in Michael Jackson's kitchen. I was part of the Jackson defense team in my capacity as a documentary filmmaker and legal video specialist. I spent many days videotaping inside Michael Jackson's Neverland estate, and I spent 2 days on the witness stand, presenting and narrating my original video footage for the jury, footage that will be seen outside the courtroom for the first time in this documentary. I was hired by Michael Jackson's legal defense team. When I took the job, I was uncertain about the truth of Jackson's guilt or innocence. What I experienced working on the case opened my eyes not only to the dangers of celebrity, but also to a dangerous side of the American justice system and the media. In this documentary, I'll share what I learned about Michael Jackson during my time at Neverland and during his trial. By the end, you'll know what I came to believe about Jackson's guilt or innocence. And hopefully, this documentary will help you make up your mind as well. Like most people, I'd heard a lot about Neverland Ranch, and I was curious to get an intimate look at the mythical home and playland. As I shot the various nooks and crannies on the property, I wondered if Jackson really was guilty of molesting boys. I was curious to hear the facts in the case, and maybe I was a little worried about finding that he really is a pedophile. After all, he was being charged with 10 counts of child abuse, and he faced a lifetime in prison that many felt he couldn't survive. Having raised a couple of kids myself, I know that child molestation is truly a horrible violation. Could Jackson have crossed the line? After all, there had been a financial settlement with an earlier accuser in 1993. But I also saw that Michael seemed sincerely childlike and innocent. It was hard to imagine that he would willingly violate kids whom he seemed to adore.
Oh, you know how to do the moonwalk. I learned it from you guys.
Much of the footage in this documentary was given to me by the attorneys in the case. For the first time, you'll see the sheriffs meeting the accuser.
What Michael Jackson has done to you, okay, he's the bad person, not you.
And you'll hear Jackson's accuser telling a story of molestation.
He grabbed me. He grabbed you? Where did he grab you at?
Private area.
He grabbed you in your private area?
Sheriff's Department.
You'll see an army of sheriffs raiding Jackson's personal living quarters at Neverland Ranch. You'll meet the mother of the accuser.
Where were they when I had to walk about 3 hours to get to the doctors for my children, and now all of a sudden they're caring and concerned because Michael Jackson.
You'll view outtakes from the Martin Bashir documentary.
I would never do it. I would slit my wrist if I were hurt.
You'll see an exclusive interview with Jackson attorney Tom Mesereau.
This was not the kind of situation that Michael Jackson belongs in. He's extremely sensitive, very gentle, very childlike.
And you'll meet jury foreman Paul Rodriguez.
We felt that Michael was still a kid in a man's body.
Michael's defense team hired me to create a Neverland tour video to counter the unsavory impression created by footage shot by the Santa Barbara County Sheriffs, who deployed over 70 officers for a surprise raid of Neverland Ranch.
You don't have a job until we secure this house.
The jurors saw footage like this scene where sheriffs would round a corner ready to draw their guns. I guess on a potential child molester, or maybe they were expecting to find a cowering Michael Jackson.
Sheriff's Department.
I've never seen a case where 70-plus sheriffs show up to raid someone's home like this. I think they wanted to create the impression that Michael Jackson was a dangerous person. And everybody wanted to be part of the Michael Jackson investigation and ultimately the Michael Jackson case. They wanted to create the biggest case in the history of the world, and everybody was just mesmerized by being part of this unusual event, and it was very, very disturbing.
My footage was also intended to offset the insinuations made in a documentary by Martin Bashir. The Bashir footage included this famous scene of Michael holding hands with his future accuser, Gavin Arvizo.
Is that really appropriate for a man, a grown man, to be doing that? How do you respond to that?
I feel sorry for them because that's judging someone who wants to really help people.
The Bashir tape, we felt that he was leading Michael into the situation of admitting that there was a problem, that something went wrong, that he did bother some kids. They did sleep in his room, and there was more going on than just sleeping in his room. And we felt that he just literally led him in that direction.
When I got the job, I knew about as much as most people about the career of Michael Jackson. I knew that Jackson had been a big star from an early age, but he had missed out on a normal childhood because of his early stardom and the strict and abusive control of his father, Joe Jackson.
I just wanted to have fun, or know what it's like to have a buddy over, or a slumber party, or a birthday.
I knew that after performing with his brothers in the Jackson 5, he went on to a huge career as a solo artist, and that his album Thriller was one of the most successful albums of all time. I knew of his landmark work in making music videos like Beat It, his humanitarian work like We Are the World, and his incredible dance moves. Even my own home movies feature a performance of my son trying to mimic some of Michael's dance steps. I also knew of his excessive cosmetic procedures and the often reported stories of odd behavior, like when he dangled his baby from a hotel balcony in Germany. When the Bashir documentary, Living with Michael Jackson, came out in 2003, there was a big media and tabloid blitz about his relationship with 13-year-old Gavin Arvizo and about Michael's unorthodox thoughts about sleeping arrangements.
Why can't you share your bed? The most loving thing to do is to share your bed with someone. You know?
You really think that?
Yeah, of course.
You're taking the position that you use every single night that you go into. You sleep, and you're sharing it with another.
You say you can have my bed if you want. Sleep in it.
My first meeting at Neverland was with Bob Sanger, one of Jackson's longtime attorneys. He told me about the accusations made by Gavin Arvizo and his family. He said that Gavin and his brother claimed that Michael had molested Gavin, and that additionally the whole family maintained that they'd been held hostage at Neverland and not allowed to know the time. Gavin Arvizo also claimed that Michael forced him to drink alcohol to help with the molestation. Sanger and the Neverland staff gave me a tour of the estate. Sanger explained that my main assignment would be to make a video tour of Neverland, showing what a visitor sees during a typical visit. My video would be introduced at trial only if the judge would not allow the jurors to make their own visit. Eventually, the judge ruled that the jury could not go to Neverland, and so I became a sworn witness narrating my footage at trial. After my initial visit, I returned to Neverland Ranch a half dozen times with my equipment and assistants to document the place. Roaming around Neverland as I pleased with the staff at my command, I felt like a kid in a candy store, sometimes literally. The only place that was off limits was Michael's dance and recording studio that was seen in the Bashir documentary, and his personal office that was seen in the sheriff's raid footage.
This is Michael's? Okay.
I'm not sure why I wasn't allowed access to those places. Perhaps they weren't straightened up like the rest of the property.
This is the boys' room.
I also wasn't allowed to visit the bedrooms of Michael's kids, Paris, Prince, and Blanket. The officers also searched these rooms. But I did see signs of Michael's kids throughout the property, including this touching note from Paris to her father, Michael Jackson, expressing her love and best wishes to her daddy, whose health declined from the stress of the trial. Otherwise, nothing else was off limits on the 2,700-acre property. I made this shot when I was told that the Neverland staff often come out to greet important visitors, and truly, the jurors watching my video were going to be important guests. By the way, the majority of the staff that I met seemed to be kind, down